Welcome to solverfy.
Let's assess how reasonable this statement is. Chlorine has a smaller ionization energy than Cl minus. Is that reasonable? Well, let's look at the valence shell picture of chlorine and Cl minus. Okay, well, recall where we are in the periodic table, right? Chlorine is in group 7A, right beneath fluorine, which means that the valence shell picture of chlorine is that it will have 3 lone pairs and 1 electron, right? That's neutral chlorine. And that Cl minus represents chlorine that has gained 1 additional electron. Right? Such that it has a full octet and is isoelectronic with a noble gas. Okay, so then the question is, how hard will it be to remove an electron from Cl minus versus neutral chlorine? Chlorine going to chlorine with 6 electrons, that's chlorine plus, and an electron, versus Cl minus anion with its 8 electrons, going to neutral chlorine with 7 electrons and an electron there. Okay, we'll note that this chlorine is neutral, whereas the product in which we've removed one of the electrons is charged, right? Whereas in the case of chlorine anion, we start charged and we go neutral, right? This speaks to the disfavorability of ionizing Cl versus Cl minus, right? Its charged species are less stable than neutral species in general. We can also think of it like if you had a charged chlorine, this electron would be very attracted to it, right? Electrons want to be with positive things, which suggests to me that this reaction would much rather proceed in the reverse directions. Compare that to a charged Cl minus losing an electron to become neutral and coughing up a single electron, right? Here we're going from charged to neutral, and if we recall that charged species are less stable than neutral species, it makes sense that, if anything, the forward direction in which we lose an electron is the favorable one. The final thing we can think about is that you have likely heard that ionization gets harder and harder each time. That is, the first ionization is easier than the second ionization, so on and so forth. And what you may notice is that Cl neutral going to Cl plus is the second ionization of Cl minus, right? Cl minus goes to Cl plus an electron, and a further ionization would then give us Cl plus, and we would then have 2 electrons, right? So if a subsequent ionization is always harder, that kind of also spells out to us that it's going to be much easier to ionize Cl minus than it will to ionize chlorine, right? So with that in mind, this statement would be false. Cl minus has a smaller ionization energy.